Hello, welcome to Alive with Bhavna. This is Bhavna speaking. This is a show all about mindfulness and self-love. For those who don't know me, I came to New Zealand in 2005. I'm a clinical psychologist with 18 years of experience, and I've been doing mindfulness since 2005. In the last 5 years, I've worked on mindfulness and integrating mindfulness with self-love. And this resulted in me writing a book called Self-Love, The First Step. I've also started my own business, Alive Psychology. So welcome to my show. Brief overview of what is mindfulness. Mindfulness is about learning how to be in your body in this present moment with an attitude of acceptance and non-judgment. It's easier said than done because our normal mind loves to judge or go, this is good, this is bad. If it's good, I want more of it. If it's bad, I want less of it, so I try and fight it. And the more I fight it, the longer I keep it going. So mindfulness is learning to develop a feeling or sense of equanimity, where we welcome and treat all experiences as just that. This is a passing moment. This is an experience I'm having with this. The self-love aspect came out of my mindfulness practice in the sense that through my mindfulness practice I became aware of how I treated myself and learned how to bring in more love and compassion towards myself. So I see mindfulness and self-love as two sides of the same coin. Today's topic is mindfulness and speech. I became aware of how our speech affects our lives, our views recently while looking into the apartheid system that ruled South Africa for so many years, or any other atrocities that we've committed over the decades, man's inhumanity towards man. And what I realized that it always starts with the idea of dehumanizing language. Any kind of atrocity that we commit starts with dehumanizing language. So a while ago, I saw a stage show called Madiba, which is about Nelson Mandela's story, but obviously incorporates apartheid. And in this musical, there's a scene where a new soldier, new recruit, shoots a black man at one of the uprisings, and student uprisings. And after he shoots this black man, he's struck with horror of, oh my God, I just killed someone. And his superior comes to him and says, no, you didn't kill a person, you just killed a black. And throughout the show, you see this man trying to convince himself, not a person, just a black, not a person, just a black, not a person, just a black. And it's that kind of dehumanizing behavior that allows us to commit such atrocities, because as soon as we see them not as humans, I can do whatever I feel like. So, as a society, on a big and small scale, we all do this on some level. We put people in the other category. And whether this is based on gender, religion, sex, sexual orientation, wealth, where they live, what they do, how they dress, anything, we can put people in another category. And as soon as we put them in the other category, we start treating them as less than, or not us, not human, not one of my people. And it always starts with languaging. It starts with languaging because words are so powerful. They convey reality in terms of how we experience it, or how we want to experience reality. In therapy with clients who've been sexually abused, one of the biggest challenges is for them to accept that they've been sexually abused. Some of them have a great difficulty in saying that I've been raped. They go, when that thing happened to me, or when he did that to me, or I had non-consensual sex, they'd use other words rather than calling it rape or sexual abuse. And the fact that they don't call it rape or sexual abuse, they're creating tension in their bodies, because their bodies are reacting as if this horrible atrocity has happened to them, but their minds are going, no, it was just non-consensual sex, it was nothing, it was a non-event. And that creates the tension in the body. So languaging is so important. By calling it rape or sexual abuse, it changes that tension, it makes reality real, that yes, this happened. The same thing with dehumanizing language. Words are powerful, they have an impact on how we see the world. Dehumanizing language obviously does the negative, it takes away our humanity. Like in the play, the man kept on telling himself, not a person, just a black, not a person, just a black. He had to try to convince himself that what he did was okay. What he did was acceptable because his body was responding as if this was wrong. But his mind was trying to tell him, no, it's okay. What you did was okay because you just killed a black, don't worry. And it's that way in which we use language and dehumanizing language to justify our behaviors, to justify how we feel, to justify what we do. In terms of the ANC, they were considered a terrorist organization by the ruling party. And because of their power, obviously they were considered as a terrorist organization throughout the world. They saw themselves as freedom fighters. So exactly the same action translated in different words, and each word carries different power. Terrorist instills fear in me, instills a very different reaction to freedom fighter. And that's how dehumanization starts with languaging. So as I became aware of this, I started going, okay, what words do you use to describe yourself and others? How do you describe others? When you talk about people, do you go, women are like this, poor people do this, Christians do this? Just generalize people into categories. What kind of tone of voice do you use when you talk about people? Oh, men. Oh, gays. Gays are always like, just the languaging we use, the energy we use for any group tells us our attitude towards that group, tells us how we feel towards that group. So you might think, why is this important? Why worry about my speech? Who cares how I talk about people, or whether I dehumanize people or whatever? The importance of this is because speech reflects my deeper attitude. It reflects my prejudices that I might have towards people. It might seem harmless on the surface, that it doesn't really matter what I say about people because, I'm not going to go out and kill them. I don't like those people and they're just weird and they do this and they do that. But I'm not going to do anything about it, so it's harmless. I can talk about it the way I want. On the surface, it does seem harmless. But every time I say something derogatory about another person or group of people, I am dehumanizing myself. I am killing something in myself. Because my spirit cannot dehumanize another person without dehumanizing myself. That's an all or nothing game. The more I see them as that, the more I start seeing myself as different. I'm not part of that group. I'm not part of the world. I'm not connected. Mindfulness is about connection and bringing us back into alignment with life, the idea that we are part of the universe, we are part of life, we are part of energy. Dehumanizing language separates us. It creates separation. It creates fear. It changes the way my heart responds to people. It closes my heart. The minute I go, those people, my heart closes. My fear increases because I don't want them near me, so I need to protect myself. Mandela had a quote that said something like, resentment is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. And that's what this kind of languaging does to me. Every time I talk about this, every time I degrade another group of human beings, I'm poisoning myself. It poisons my spirit. It changes my blood pressure. It changes the hormones in my body. I'm filled with anger, hatred, resentment. Tenses my heart, increases blood pressure, increases rage, increases the feeling of fear, increases discontentment in my life. And that only serves one purpose, and that's to support our medical industry in terms of now I need medication for my high blood pressure. I need medication to help me to control my cholesterol levels or whatever levels I'm increasing. So it's noticing what we speak. So it's not really harmless. The other way in which this is not harmless is when we stop seeing people as people and we see them as a group that we don't like. If we continue with this propaganda, it could lead us to the point of view where we're actually willing to commit atrocities towards them because they're not people. They're just things. They deserve to be treated. And look at how they treat other people. Look at how they behave. Look at what they do. Actually, it's good if they all die. It's good if they all suffer. We have this, and the media plays a big role in shaping how we see people, how we see groups. In this way, we get brainwashed into a belief system. Brainwashing can also happen on the positive level. When I was in South Africa during the 95 World Cup, Rugby World Cup, at the time of the World Cup starting, most non-whites supported the All Blacks because we were not going to support the Springboks. Throughout that period, the spin doctors really did a big job on us in the sense that they sold us the Springboks. Every day in the media we saw the Springboks going to various black schools, playing with black kids, teaching them how to play rugby, giving them the T-shirts. The signs all around everywhere was one team, one nation. They changed the name of the Springboks to make it Amaboka Boka, which sounded more Africanized it, rather than Die Bokke, which is very Afrikaner. And by the end of the World Cup, we all supported the Springboks. They were our team, one nation. So languaging and spin doctors can work both for positive and for negative. Unfortunately, a lot of what we see in the media is tainting our view of certain groups and populations. And when that happens, we don't when we see atrocities created by them, we don't turn a blind eye. I mean, we turn a blind eye. We go, yeah, another one dead. Okay, doesn't really matter. So for me, this was quite an eye-opener in that sense of starting to become aware of how I see people, how I see groups, and really challenging what the media feeds me, really challenging how I talk about groups, how I talk about people, what I say. And that's where the mindfulness stuff comes in, is that idea of starting to really pay attention to my mindfulness of speech. What do I say? How do I say it? When I talk about any experience or my experience of stuff, do I generalize it to all men do this, or do I say that my experience with these 5 guys have been this? And it's really easy to generalize after we've had 1 or 2 experiences of anything. And I've been actively trying to notice these generalizations and that idea of going, how do I do this? And this has been a very rude awakening for me as I became aware of this idea of dehumanizing speech and generalization. Because like most people, I don't like to think of myself as sexist, racist, or any other form of ism or bigot. But as I started becoming aware of my responses, or my words that I use, or my body reaction when talking about something or seeing something on media, I started becoming aware of my ingrained prejudices, of my ingrained isms. And some of them were very hard to face. Some of them were very difficult to kind of go, oh my God, I think like that. I didn't really think I believe that, but it comes out in my speech. It comes out in my behavior. It comes out in how I respond to when I hear those news items in the news or see that program. Yeah, those people, doesn't matter. It's the same thing as in the movie Rocket Man. Elton John's mother sincerely believed that gay people can't have real love. Even though her experience of love was not the healthiest one, she still believed that gay people, they just don't have real love experiences. And it's so deeply ingrained in us. So like I said, yeah, part of this journey was me becoming aware of what I do. My mindfulness practice has helped me become aware of my speech. And I monitor what I say and I monitor what other people say. In that sense, when I find friends generalizing about a group of people, I go, really? Actually, my experience of a person from that group has been this, completely opposite to what they're generalizing that group to be. And in that way, that's my idea of changing or becoming aware of our biases and changing those. Because change can only happen if we start noticing what are my prejudices. How am I working with this? And it's not, changing language is really easy, but it's changing my heart response, which is the hard part. And that's where the mindfulness stuff comes in. Can I sit with my discomfort? Can I sit with this idea of realizing that I have certain prejudices? Can I bring in love and compassion towards myself? For growing up in this world, we have been fed all these messages. And now choosing what I want to do with these messages rather than letting it define me or rather than blindly following what I've been taught. So the mindfulness practice, the sitting practice, is about connecting with my heart, connecting with how do I feel when I talk about a group in a derogatory way. Does it make my body feel okay? Or does it create tension in my body? If it creates tension in my body, then this is not healthy for me. This is harming me. Like I said, the languaging part is really easy. The behavior part is harder. So bringing in the mindfulness idea of the loving kindness practice has helped me change some of my attitudes towards certain groups. The loving kindness practice is where we sit in our mindfulness practice, connecting with our hearts and opening our hearts to that group and trying to see them as me. Because as soon as I see them as me, it's hard for me to harm them. It's hard for me to hurt them. It creates a sense of unity. It creates a sense of openness. It creates a sense of connection. And in that way, my heart feels freer. My life feels freer because actually I can connect with everyone. I can connect with anyone because my heart is open all the time, or most of the time, rather than being closed when I come across this person or that person, or I need to protect my life from this person because they're bad, they're horrible, they represent this group. For me, this is a lifelong journey. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Through this practice, I have become a lot more aware, a lot more kinder towards myself, and a lot more open to listening to other point of views. And like I said, it results in me feeling more joyous, more open. The loving kindness practice is also about bringing in love and compassion towards myself. Because I cannot beat myself up for having these views, because if I do that, I'm just creating more distress in my body, and it's hard to bring in love if I'm beating myself up. So that's my story for today in terms of why mindfulness of speech is so important and why we need to notice how we speak, what we speak, how we say things, because it doesn't only influence our outside behavior, it influences our heart. It changes my body energy, it changes my willingness to engage or not engage with you. So if you want to talk to me about mindfulness, self-love, how to open your heart, my business is called Alive Psychology, and I'm at 50 Dalton Street in Napier. The best way to contact me is using the website, which is alivepsych.co.nz. And if you want to attend a retreat that Pat and I are hosting, it's on the 11th to 14th of October at Tamwata Retreat Center in the Coromandel. The cost for the retreat is $495, or it is ACC funded. So look forward to hearing from you next time, or seeing you next time, or coming for a retreat. Thank you for listening. Bye.